There is an amazing collective, 11 artists. They take over the entire gallery, and for 2 weeks, they create the exhibit. They work night and day, and the exciting thing about it is as they create it, they invite the public in. The doors to the gallery are open way into the night. Different people walk down the street, come in, and they have input into how this whole exhibition comes out. It's an amazing process, and I don't think that there are any other collectives of 11 artists that do this across the country. It is truly unique.
What you actually see on the walls is a conversation between 11 artists and the conversation that we have with the general public. First and foremost, the conversation is about making the art-making process transparent, because a lot of people just think that artists, we kind of lock ourselves in these like dark rooms and we create, and then all of a sudden you come out and you see this masterpiece. So it's really about the transparency of the process of what artists actually, how we create. And then the conversation between us as artists. It can be anything from social commentary to just funny jokes that we share with one another, to things that we've been studying recently. You know, you'll see a lot of pieces up here where you can see people really exercising different techniques. You can see people actually exploring different worlds as far as religion is concerned and spirituality and things along that nature.
I think the Regional Arts Commission really appreciates us because of the fact that we interact with the public and bring people in that are just walking around through the neighborhood. And like, we want to interact with them. We want them to appreciate what we're doing, but also like engage the arts in the community.
Well, I think in this particular case, with the exhibit being here and accessible to the public, meaning that it's not behind closed doors, and people get to see us actually creating, that automatically has a strong effect on a lot of people because we see it. You know, people will stop by and say, wow, this is really awesome. I can't believe you guys are doing this. And what's funny is people will kind of stop while we're working and ask us if this is an art gallery, which of course it is year-round. And there's exhibits in here year-round, but the way in which we go about installing our exhibit is completely different from the others.
Yes, we will not do a show in any place where we can't have access to people coming in and actually being a part of the process, viewing it, and asking us questions.
And those people will be kids that are junior high age, in high school, college, folks in their 20s and 30s on up. And people will have particular comments on certain areas of what's going on.
Or they will look at something and they would say, oh, well, that piece over there reminds me of this, and then it all of a sudden becomes, well, wait a second, tell me more about, you know, that, and we'll sit back and listen, and then next thing you know, after that conversation, it will probably inform how that piece was going.
And so it says that art is for everyone, and that it is accessible. It's not that, you know, only the artist can make this. It's that you can do that too.
It's like we all kind of play roles, specific roles in like design, and like somebody takes charge of a certain thing or a certain like aspect of the wall drawing and kind of charges with it, and then like we'll all have a discussion as a whole and kind of direct it in the way that we all like think it should go, basically, until like somebody changes it, you know, and then like, oh, well, maybe it should go this direction, and so we go that direction, and that works for a little while until somebody decides that it should be changed. So yeah, it's like a lot of like touch and go.
So just looking at the nature of our collective and looking at our own individual backgrounds and how we have been able to come together as a collective to make art together. Hopefully when the community comes in, they can just see how diverse our backgrounds are and everything, and really start to see, you know, like, wow, okay, so that's how it's done, and hopefully it can get inside of them and change them. And how art can actually change a community is, one, it's a revenue generator, and it's a spirit builder, you know. So when people see this happening in their community, art brings a new life and a new spirit and a new energy.
Patrick's in the studio with us now. I want to know, reporting this story, what did it tell you about art in St. Louis right now?
Well, this was really fun. One of your earlier guests said they're different, Tara, about their different strata of art. And we cover the Symphony and the Pulitzer and Contemporary Art Museum and, you know, the institutions. But there are all these other levels of art which are very different. There are graffiti artists, there are these artists, all of whom do individual art. But this is a collective of 11 people, and they're a lot of fun. And one of them in the piece said, you know, we're not a bunch of highfalutin artists, you know. They just have a vague concept of what they're going to do, and then they shape the vision together. And then even cooler, they invite the public in off the street. What do you think? You know, well, you know, here, take a brush, you know, join in it. It's not some art that they own and then they're trying to, you know, bring to the public. It's something that we all work together, which in a way is kind of this metaphor, I think, of how art can transform neighborhoods. And in a way, we're talking a little
Really?
bit
That's
about,
not too high of a standard for art? You believe that? I know a lot of people on the show tonight do.
yeah, I heard some really interesting conversations about what art does and a lot of really good examples of how art really does transform neighborhoods. It transforms people. And if you think of a community as a whole collection of a whole lot of different people, we're divided by so many things. We're divided by age and gender and ethnicity and race and religion and politics. But art is almost like, and I heard people say this in different ways, because it just occurred to me tonight watching the show actually, that art can also serve as a kind of a language, not a language of words, but a language that consists of colors or textures or sounds, where we're only limited by our own imagination to solve problems, because art in a way is solving problems. What is life? What is time? What is, you know, who are we? You know, how do we relate to each other? And in a way, it gives us, if we can think abstractly, we've got more things in our toolbox to be able to solve social problems. Like a lot of communities have one tool in their toolbox, a hammer. So as the old adage goes, every problem looks like a nail, right? The ability to think abstractly gives us tools to be able to live fuller lives, and as communities to be able to, you know, live enhanced. Does that sound too weird? Does that sound too?
Am I hearing your definition of what is art here? Is that what you're saying?
I didn't know tonight that I was going to come up with a definition of art, but if you like it, Casey, I'm happy to write that down.
Has that definition? You've been covering the arts here at Nine for 15 years.
Yeah.
Has that changed in those 15 years?
One of the things that I've noticed that there are just more and more grassroots art collectives and individual, more younger people staying in St. Louis to do art. And so many of them say, God, I just want the opportunity to be able to stay in St. Louis. I love it, I'm from here, you know, it's inexpensive. And now more and more, there are things happening. And look at all the neighborhoods that have been transformed by art, that are Chesterfield, for example. I mean, I didn't really know until last year when I did a story on Chesterfield that there was so much going on there. You've got bankers and politicians, not artsy people, who were saying, yeah, there's a lot of potential for the art to be able to shape the image of our community, to be able to attract interesting people to our community and make this something more than just a place where people think, yeah, they got them all, don't they? Maplewood, University City, The Loop, Old North, you know, we could go on and on. These are neighborhoods that have changed a lot over the last 10 or 15 years.
We're going to see more of that report that you just filed there. Sunday Arts, tell us about that quickly.
Sunday Arts is at 1 to 1:30. We collaborate with 30 other major markets, PBS stations, so we get their segments and then they air ours nationally. So anything that we do in St. Louis can now air nationally, followed by half an hour of Living St. Louis, like 10 years of the best of the art shows that we've done, and then a couple of hours of other arts programs. So Sunday afternoon, if you don't want to watch NASCAR or football, watch channel. Can I pitch now? Watch Channel 9, okay?
I need a commitment that you'll come back to stay tuned.
Hey, I'd love to.
Okay.
I'd love to. And by the way, I love the show. And
okay, now we're promoting too much.
And I love you, Casey.
Let's go back. You know what? Let's continue this conversation. No, let's go back to social media, see what's going on there.